conversations through the years about this cluster of topics. It's enraging and it's brutal to hear this story. But there's also, I have to say, something as someone who's been reporting on this for years, just maddeningly familiar about it all after the year we've had, after the people in the streets, after the calls for reform, after the remarkable sea change in public opinion in certain respects, a brutal year, one of the most brutal years for the country. Philip, what has changed? Why are we here again?
So first, I have to be responsive to the fact that you're calling out how frustrating and maddening it is to be here watching the news on repeat, it seems. I can't count the number of people I've spoken to today who have said, wait, which one? Which killing? Which unarmed black man who is dead now? Is there a new one, or are you talking about the one from yesterday? So that's just a reality that so many black communities have been seeing before the cameras were paying attention. I have to start there. But if you want to know what's changed, there's a lot going on that's different. There actually is. There is good news out there. So, I mean, we've seen in Baltimore, the DA says, not going to prosecute any low-level traffic offenses. And the goal is to leverage it so that police will stop enforcing that. In Berkeley, in Nassau County, in Ithaca, they're already going to do that, where law enforcement will no longer enforce low-level traffic offenses. And in Ithaca, where they're dismantling the entire police department and putting together a department of community solutions and public safety that'll be civilian-led, that will be majority unarmed, that will not respond to nonviolent issues with armed responses. They're saying, we don't want these potential deadly situations to even be an option. And also, as the nation is exhausted and disgusted, literally sick to our stomachs watching this, we can't forget, we built a house out of this kind of violence.
Yes.
The nation is a built house out of this kind of violence. We have built the studs and the infrastructure and the drywall out of stolen labor and stolen land. And now folks are saying, hey, let's repaint the door.
Right.
And that ought to fix it. After just 1 year, we cannot recover from 400 of not just neglect, but trying to do this kind of stuff on purpose. So I get that it's angering. I'm angry and sick too. I'm sleepless about it too. But it is going to take some time. There's some good news out there, but it'll only continue to get better. We'll only be able to celebrate what we've seen so far if we understand it's the whole house we got to reconstruct.
Yeah.
It's not just some painting on the side of it.
Yes.
Brittany, where are you at right now?
I'm right where Phil is. Disgusted, frustrated, very clear that this is fully systemic, and to quote Phil, that this is about the entire house. I find that in far too many places outside of Ithaca, New York, and a couple of other corners of this country, we're not making the kind of progress that we deserve because we're not having the right conversation. Chris, if you ran a company and you hired an outside contracting firm to come and help you solve problems, and they came in and they did their job, and when they did their job, they didn't solve most of the problems. They didn't prevent the problems from happening, and in fact, they caused new problems of their own, and they caused those problems incredibly severely against certain people who worked for and with you, who were your neighbors, people that you loved, and then they came back to you at the end of that year and they said, pay us more money. And in fact, don't just pay us more money, make sure that the people that we caused the most harm to help pay the bill. You would laugh them out of the room, because in this country that is built on a violent capitalism, that is most often defended by the very people who still tell us to back the blue, that would be a laughable premise. And yet, we continue to increase police budgets every single year. Only 46% of violent crimes are actually solved by police. Only 18% of property crimes are actually solved by police. Why are we giving them a raise? And every single day, we are forcing Black Americans, whether we want to or not, to invest in institutional projects that are built based on how effectively they express violence against our bodies, our minds, and our families.
Wow.
And then this country has the audacity and the unmitigated gall to turn around and demand that we are patient, that we are understanding, and that we try reforms that haven't worked time and again. It is insulting, and let's be very clear, for Daunte Wright, it is deadly. Time up.
Time's up.
Philip.